Hello everybody, welcome back to This Week in Gwent, a weekly show in which we talk everything Gwent, and we have guests, and we have Kerpeten today. How you doing, my friend?
I am better because you pronounced my name right.
Ah, see, finally someone did it properly. Good. I'm happy that I didn't mess that up. It's one of those things that you want to hit and do in the beginning properly, and if you don't, it's kind of like, kind of goes downhill from there. So thank you for agreeing to appear on Twig. You're one of the heavy hitters when it comes to Gwent esports and the self-proclaimed Season 5 champion, if I'm not mistaken. How are you doing? How are your preparations and everything esports in Gwent?
I'm actually taking a break right now. I am not a part of the pro scene at the moment, but don't worry, I will be back in summer.
Okay.
I have to focus on some personal stuff, so I don't have time for pro play. Because it's an exhausting process, and it takes lots of time.
Okay. So are your plans still to pretty much dominate this year and have this final send-off for you?
My man, do you have to ask?
I wanted just to make sure that it's gonna happen. But I know you are super confident, and I always wanted to ask because where does this confidence kind of come from when it comes to like esports? You have a very strong personality.
I mean, I like to be confident because if you don't think you are the best, how can you be the best?
Okay. Makes sense. I like that.
It's more of a grind set mentality thing.
And I think you kind of do it. And since you come off very confident, it kind of is seen by the people that you are going against, so your opponents. And they kind of like, oh, this guy is confident. He must be really know like what he's doing. And it kind of works on their mentality in a sense that they're like, oh, if he's so confident, maybe I have a disadvantage here. So you're kind of getting in their head.
Exactly. It also intimidates other people.
Yes, intimidating. Exactly. So
it's not very used in Gwent, but
yeah,
we can use it in real life.
Yeah, it's also difficult. I feel like since we started, when the pandemic happened, we started doing our events fully online. So I feel like it kind of takes away a little bit this fact of, of having the in-person back and forth, because it's much different when you see your opponent and you see them face to face and you look at them in the eye. It is something that I really enjoyed when we did esports live, is like whenever someone was going against the other person, and they were like, they had the last play, they would look up and they would look in their face, and either both of them laughed or both of them were kind of like, serious. It kind of shows the rivalry a little bit better than just you sitting in front of your cameras. Of course, you guys both see each other, so you're able to kind of see like if your opponent is happy, sad, angry, frustrated, or all these emotions are kind of visible.
I mean, I also take a peek at the cameras by playing the opens.
I mean, everybody does. I think you need to see your opponent, right? And kind of what they're doing. It also gives you, like, it is kind of the thing in card games that kind of, I feel like, circles back everything to poker. Like in poker, it's very important. Like people wear, glasses and stuff like that, so that they don't see each other's face, because you can read a person based off of their, just body language, so how they act in a stressful situation.
You can also bluff.
Yes.
For instance, you can act like you just hit the brick and get your opponent to push.
Yes. Yeah, so you're kind of like, oh my god, it's like, oh no, this is gonna be bad.
You can be like, oh man.
Yeah.
But in reality.
Yeah. I think it also comes off in terms of like the play styles and how you play and how fast you play. And if you're I feel like in some games, if you're slowing down, your opponent instantly takes that as an advantage. Like if you're slowing down, that means you're slowing down for a reason, right? You're doing that because you don't know what to play, you're not confident, and they kind of want to like bounce off of that confidence and kind of do their plays quicker. Are you a fast player or are you a slower player?
Oh, I'm a jammer.
You jam the cards. Good. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I remember. I just wanted to be 100% sure.
I actually get triggered by ropers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I think it's also like it can work both ways. Actually, it can work in a way that they're roping because they're really thinking about the plays, or they're roping because they're buying time for some reason, and you don't know
exactly.
For what. And that also pisses you off, which is kind of what they're going for.
Nah, like if some person is really taking, for instance, Colomon or Green Knight, I'm fine with it. But if my opponent is watching Netflix while playing, I'm getting triggered.
We live in a time where everybody's kind of multitasking. We're on our phones all the time. We're watching YouTube videos while doing other stuff. We're listening to music. We're listening to podcasts. We're doing multiple things at once, which is very hard to focus on one thing. And I feel like if you're playing on a very competitive level, I feel like you always want to be 100% focused on what you're doing.
Maybe not on ladder. Because in ladder it's about how much you can play rather than how good you play.
True.
So if you wanna focus on your if you full focus, you're gonna get target. But if you put on some music, if you put on some relaxing YouTube videos, nothing serious, or a podcast, I think you can focus for longer.
Yeah.
And it might even improve you.
I actually
improve your ladder score.
Yeah, I actually have the same thing. I feel like I focus a lot better if I have something in the background. Maybe, like you said, it isn't something that I'm per se interacting with, but it is something that is there that kind of keeps the focus going, keeps like you said, if it's soothing music or any type of just anything that maybe doesn't have words and stuff like that you need to focus on, or even sometimes a podcast that is relaxing, you can have it in the background and you're focused on what you're doing. And it works for me when I'm writing something, when I'm working on a spreadsheet or whatever, a presentation. I feel like it is something that keeps my focus in one place for a longer period of time. Yeah. So when it comes to Gwent, because actually there has been a lot of things happening this week, because we launched update 11.3, not 10.3. We're in the 11s now. With it, we had the changes to draft, which were not expected. Changes to bandits also, so that's going to be interesting how people react to that one. Already saw some first initial reactions, and if you missed that, the patch notes are available at playgwent.com. There is also a developer video tied to that with me and Jean that you can watch on YouTube, or you can also just access it through playgwent.com. And we have a start of a new season, and with a new seasonal mode, so all that information is there. Bear in mind that this season is actually longer, and it will take time till April 14th, if I'm not mistaken. So you have more time to play on ladder and become a pro, because you should. So yeah, those things are happening throughout this week. So a busier week this time for Gwent. And when do you think you're going to be playing a little bit more? Are you still going to take a couple months off and then come back closer to summertime, or what's the plan right now?
I think I will skip the first tournament, the mid-season tournament.
Okay.
And I will proclaim my finally Masters winner title in the end.
I mean, there's a lot of guys going for that. I know that Piable will be also trying to get that one.
Come on, he has his title. Let me have it.
You know how it is. It starts with one, and then you want more. True. Yeah. But how did you start with Gwent?
That's how I felt. How did I start Gwent?
Yeah, how did you start with Gwent, actually?
It's actually interesting. Because I have not played a card game before Gwent.
At all? No card games? No prior, Magic, nothing like that?
I used to play Hearthstone at middle school, but it was middle school and all I played was some Woodlocks. So I don't think it counts.
I played Magic in middle school, so I totally understand that.
You're just a dumb kid, right? You don't know what you're doing. You're just jamming random things.
Yeah. And seeing it works.
Yeah. I was actually playing League of Legends before Gwent.
Okay. Or did you ever have a competitive itch for it or anything like that?
Yeah, I was a semi-pro.
Oh, okay. What did you play? DPS? Were you jungler?
Top laner.
Solo top. Nice. Respect. Go to champion.
Sion.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he was quite good. He was quite good.
I was the tank of Turkey.
Respect. Nice. So that's where you got your competitive itch. Then how did you find?
No. I got my competitive itch when I was a kid.
Okay.
When I was playing chess.
Oh, you see. So there is actually something more there. Okay. So but was chess like one of your first games where you thought like you want to be competitive in it? Like who introduced you to this?
My father introduced me. He's also a really great chess player. And my first memory is actually a chess tournament. So I got into it very early. And at 8 years, I was like in nationals, you compete with your age.
Damn.
I was the second one.
So you were very competitive from a young age in this case.
Yes.
Nice. And your dad introduced that to you.
Yes, but he kept beating me, so he wasn't very nice.
Well, he had more experience probably than you did at that time. So it always is in the beginning that, you need to learn the ropes and kind of become better. Did you ever have a time where you beat him?
Yes. He got kind of older, so he's not playing that well.
So you pretty much waited to exhaust him and wait for him to get older in order to dominate and win.
Yes, I took my sweet time.
Respect on that. Yeah, but that's kind of where I feel like, this is the kind of thing that got you to a place where you are right now, because if you're introduced to something competitive and also something that requires a lot of like brain power and thinking, and you do it when you're young, you're more incentivized later in life to actually pursue that and try that for yourself. So it's interesting that you played that, but you didn't try any other competitive things, like any card games or anything like that, apart from, like chess was first, and then you said Hearthstone, but that was just as a kid for fun. So there was nothing in between, and then you found Gwent somehow, right?
Yes.
How did that happen for you?
I quarreled with my league team. So I was like, sorry for the language, fuck you guys, I'm out.
Okay.
Then I was like not having that much, how to say, winnings in league. So I wanted to change my game.
Okay.
And I looked through what I could enjoy. And I saw Gwent. And I was like, wait, I love Gwent. I played The Witcher 3. I spent half of my time in Gwent.
So it was actually Witcher 3 that introduced you to Gwent in the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, I saw an ad and I was like, why not? Let's try it. And I fell in love with it. I got pro rank in like 9 days.
Damn, that was quick. So you joined, this was past closed beta? Because there was pro rank already?
Yes.
Or was, yeah.
It was end of Masters 2.
Okay. Interesting.
December.
Yeah. And what did you enjoy in the beginning about the game, like when you started playing it? So you joined actually at a pretty good time, to be honest.
What I loved was how easy it is to get a collection. Like I was playing for a week and I could already craft a World Championship deck. It was the same for me. Because all I heard was, oh, how is this hard to you have to grind in card games like Magic, like Hearthstone. But Gwent was so forgiving in that.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, I think that's our kind of blessing and a curse at the same time, because it's very easy to play and to get, like you said, like a competitive deck very, very quickly. And I feel like it kind of takes away the grindiness from the game, but it also is something that we were kind of going for, because we never wanted players to, sit there and play and feel that, the long sessions of trying to get and grind and get cards is just feels like a tedious job. Like we wanted to avoid that, but I feel like in a way, like the other competitors and other card games, they kind of enforce that on you in order to, progress slower and kind of really grind out those things. which I feel like is understandable because you want to keep retention going and you want to keep players going. But on the other hand, I feel like it is not like a player friendly move. And I see whenever I'm playing something that requires like so much focus for me that I will do it for some time. I will build like, let's say a deck, but if that deck is not viable in the next, I don't know, season, rotation, new set or whatever, I feel I'm less incentivized to go back and grind that out once again.
Exactly. And the way I see it is, you are the nice guys. Like, you don't get most of the girls, but you are the real homies.
Yeah, we try. But I feel like, you know, this is something that was very important for us, and it was something that we saw as card gamers ourselves based off of our like previous knowledge in terms of the games that we were playing. So we kind of knew what we wanted to do and things that we didn't want to do. And like I said, I mean, being maybe a little bit more focused on the money and stuff like that, maybe that would be better for the project itself, but it would not be good for the player base, which is something that for us has always been like the number one thing. Like focusing on players is very important. So yes. You joined after Open 2, after Masters 2.
No, after Masters 2.
After Masters Season 2, December. Do you remember what was your kind of go-to decks or go-to faction that you started out with?
Oh, Colemo's Commandos.
Commandos, okay. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I really like Northern Rams, and I like the soldier archetype.
Yeah, it's a solid one. It was a solid one at that time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Colemon and any other guys, was there any like inspiration that you had instantly in terms of like esports or in terms of like players that you saw, teams that you were interested in? Like how did this whole like go into pro thing happen? Did it happen like naturally, or did you really want it and you really like pursued that? How was that for you?
I actually had no aims. I was just simply trying to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to like, I will get top 64, I will get top 16. But in my first season, I got top 500.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one, I got top 200.
Okay. So
the
better.
The next top 100, then top 64.
Okay.
Then top 30 or something, then 16.
Yeah. So that was kind of, so it just gradually happened. It wasn't something that you had like kind of set focus on.
Yeah. And after I get 16, wait a minute, I'm kind of good.
Okay. Yeah. Like it gets into your head, right? You're kind of like top 16. That means I'm already doing something pretty well. So maybe this is something that I should be thinking about a little bit more. But it's also difficult because you need to kind of, you know, once you start getting better, you need to start adjusting your life into, you know, playing more on a professional level, which means playing more, testing with others, having like test groups and stuff like that. So how did this journey happen, like moving on after that?
I never did that. I just played ladder.
Mm-hmm. And that was
like
it?
Yeah, it was enough for me.
Okay.
But after playing some ladders, I decided to join a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually joined Team Aretusa first. And they were quite nice guys. They were welcoming.
Of course.
But after a while, unfortunately, their pro players retired.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the only one left.
Okay.
So I had to leave because I basically had no prep partners, which was the main reason I joined.
Mm-hmm.
So I had joined TLG,
mm-hmm.
Team Leviathan Gaming.
Yeah.
But recently I had some problems there.
Okay.
So now I'm a part of Team Vendetta.
Oh, okay. So you've been moving teams.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but whatever happened.
I understand.
I had my reasons.
Yeah, we don't need to go into details for that. Did you feel like once you started jumping into teams and, you know, getting to meet other pro players and talking to them, do you feel like this kind of boosted you even more in terms of like preparation, just having a knowledge pool of different players that you can pick their brains and stuff like that, or no?
Actually, yeah. I was a really good player, but I did not have experience in deck building because this was my first card game.
Yeah.
So I actually learned a lot about deck building from people like Red Rain, Colemon, and Fireball. Back in the day when I was worse than them.
I like that. Back in the day when I was worse than them. Yeah,
they really helped me improve.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, for everybody and for any card game that I've kind of seen and been part of, like the thing that you see is once people join a bigger group, there's just, you know, like you said, there's just multiple people that have either they play the game for as long as you, or played maybe more, or have like prior card game experience. They can pretty much, you know, get you up to speed with things, and actually having more people to bounce things off of or test with makes your life much easier once you know, start playing in an official tournament.
And if you are qualifying for a tournament, having a team is a blessing. Because it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you are alone, you will have to put more time, more energy. It is so relaxing to have teammates and working together.
Yeah.
Like being a lone wolf is cool, but it's also tiring. Yeah,
it's super difficult. And if you think of the amount of games that you need to play and that you need to juggle like multiple factions, not only one, I feel like it also, you know, it's much better to have a group that you can test with, or a group that you can prepare with, or a group that can come up with, you know, the decks that are going to be used in a given meta after a patch. And we're kind of known for doing monthly patches, so monthly balance is kind of being tweaked. Sometimes it stays pretty much the same and you kind of see what's dominating, but sometimes there are new things to test out. There are some changes, there are some nerfs, there are some buffs, so all those things that like need to be tested, right?
Also, there are some old decks that counter the meta decks. For instance, let's say Pirates is meta-like, and one person brainstorms and says, what about hand buff?
Yeah.
Hand buff actually beats Pirates. Then you got a Pirate counter lineup, and you will surprisingly win the qualifiers.
Yeah.
And if not for the teammates, you could not have done it.
Yeah.
And he can be a worse player than you, but it doesn't matter. Ideas still matter.
Yeah, agreed. What I always just found difficult is that, you know, you never know what your opponents might be bringing to like a tournament. Like it's hard to decipher like what they're going to do. If they're going to be playing the same thing that people play on ladder, are they going to tech in some stuff, or maybe they're going to surprise you with some weird lineup that you're not expecting.
Actually, I can give some insight on that.
Yeah.
There are basically three school of thoughts. One is not caring about anything, just bringing the strongest decks.
Okay.
Second one is targeting a single deck, or maybe multiple decks, if your lineup allows it. And the third one is bringing an untargetable lineup.
Is that even possible? Like untargetable lineup?
Yeah, for instance, don't bring binary decks. For instance, you don't bring Ignite, but instead of bringing Nature's Gift, it is weaker, but it is less targetable.
Yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah, so less targetable in a sense that there's really no counterplay for it. And also decks that, you know, you cannot disrupt very easily, because I feel like there are a lot of decks that are, like you said, binary. Like they only focus on their sole purpose of doing something, and they're the so-called, let's say, greedy decks, and they kind of they want to carry out the same game plan, but if someone disrupts them in any way, the whole game plan just goes out. Exactly. Nice. So you learned this, I feel like, very quickly, or was it a longer process in terms of like getting like the know-hows, like joining a team for the first time without having prior experience? Like, how was that for you?
You mean the team environment?
Yeah, the team environment, meeting other people, learning off of them. Do you feel like it is something that happened very quickly, or do you feel like it is something that needed a lot of adjusting to?
I think it needs adjusting because I'm actually not from a first world country. So the European culture was something different to me. I had to adjust to it because in Turkey we speak really blankly and insulting.
You're very straightforward, right? That's one thing. What I've kind of seen, and I know it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, so it was actually because you cannot explain this to people. then it's just an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You have to adapt. And adapting was really hard at the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm getting progress done.
Yeah. It's funny because people like you're known for having this strong personality, especially when we're doing interviews and stuff like that. You're very focused, in the zone, very direct, and sometimes I feel like people might be reading that in a sense that you're overconfident, cocky, and stuff like that. Does it really come from that, or is it something that you strive for, or is it something that just happens naturally?
Oh, it happens naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, during opens, I was prepping like 2 weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
And I prepped, like, I spent all of my free time prepping. So
Full
I kind of
focus.
crazy out. I got mad. Like a mad scientist. And after the play, I just won a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still focused on the game. I cannot break my focus in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I talk like I'm still playing the game. I'm still in battle.
Oh, damn. I kind of see that in some interviews, even when we try to do them like quicker. I see a lot of players are still they're still analyzing like what happened, what plays they should have done. If they played correctly, maybe they should have played this differently or used this. There's a lot of like insight that goes into it. And with this, I'm always thinking that when you're a card game player, and especially when you're a professional, you're always looking back to your previous games, and you're always analyzing plays. You're always analyzing if you did this properly, or if maybe you should have done this differently. You're always crunching numbers. You're always counting stuff. And I mean, it's crazy, right? Because it's like an ongoing thought process. Can you get lost in it at one point, or are you just like, no, I'm just focused, and everything will be I need to be analyzing all the time? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I am actually lucky among the pro players because I have played chess before.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not my first competitive game. So I got used to what you are saying. It can be really tough, but I have been doing it since I was a kid, so it's no problem for me.
Yeah, so you're kind of known for that because you learned it at an early age. And I feel like, I was actually wanted to see if chess was the answer here, that because it's also a game when you're analyzing plays all the time and you're thinking like, where's the proper play to give me a win. But I know it also is thinking about plays on the go, which is very difficult because there is stress in a tournament environment. You don't know like what your player is like, the deck list, so you kind of can expect some plays, but you don't know what your opponent will do. Sometimes it's a misplay. Sometimes it's a play that you're not very used to because it's counterintuitive, let's say. And reacting on the spot, I feel like, is also difficult because you're not only analyzing all the time, you're also reactive when it comes to the plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, while playing the opens, I usually turn my brain out on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't bother me that my opponent is doing weird things.
Okay.
It means I have not prepared for it. Means I did not see it. Means it's probably shit.
That's actually a good one. That's actually one I didn't think about. But yeah, I feel like once you're fully focused and you turn off your brain, then totally, you're just focusing on play-by-play related stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking is your enemy.
Yeah.
Overthinking is worse than not thinking.
Depends, though. I kind of feel like you get into a space where you kind of can anticipate what your opponent is doing. And also, I feel like this is where mistakes sometimes happen and sometimes they don't, is when you're in a situation where you're kind of expecting a play and you're like, okay, my opponent will do this and this and that. And then he or she does something different. And then you're like, wait, maybe I should have done this and this and that. But I feel like once you're on the spot and you're actually playing, you shouldn't be thinking about these things. Or should you be thinking about these things? Like, what's your opinion?
No, the past is the past.
Mm-hmm.
That you cannot fix it. You cannot go back time.
Mm-hmm.
And if something is mistaken, like opponent does a weird thing and actually wins, that means you made a mistake in the prep, not in the game. That means you should have prepped better. And I'm pretty confident in my preparation, so I don't feel that way in games.
Okay.
Even when I lose, it is usually because of luck.
So luck on your opponent's side, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Yeah.
Or unlucky on your side in terms of cards that you didn't draw into.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, in a sense, the past is the past, but you're kind of, I feel like you're still thinking about possible plays on your side versus plays that your opponent is doing. Like
I can give you some secrets. But keep it behind us.
I mean, this is streamed live, so this is going to be difficult. Maybe they won't watch. We smart.
Yes. Just, if you're a pro player, turn off the stream.
Yeah.
Go take a nice bet.
Or this is a bait.
So when I'm getting lost in my thoughts, I actually do some physical exercise to pump up some adrenaline.
Okay.
And after you feel the muscle pain, your thoughts are gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
that's why I sometimes make you guys wait in the opens.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I
was sitting those squats, man.
So in between games, a quick workout is something that you feel like brings you back to focus?
Yeah, it is not healthy, but it is helping my game.
Okay. Huh. And I totally understand that, because after like a very strenuous workout or something that is very quick, dynamic, that, you know, gets you sweating and gets you tired, it actually pretty much like levels you out when it comes to like your train of thought. You're less thinking about multiple things. Your brain kind of shuts off and you're kind of like more focused. I feel like I'm also more focused after a workout. I'm maybe more tired, but I'm also more focused.
Exactly. You can see things clearer. You are not as fast, but you are more direct.
Okay. The other thing is, if you do it too much, like you overstrain yourself, then I feel like you get to a headspace where, like, I've been in multiple meetings when I was, let's say I was training for something, and I was training in the morning, then I was working throughout the day. I would get to a point like in the day where I felt like my brain was just like slowly going down, and kind of someone was saying something and I was just like on autopilot, unfocused and stuff like that. So you can also go in that direction, but that just requires you to probably keep on doing something for, you know, a long period of time. And if it's like strenuous, I don't know, training for like a marathon, let's say, then that is something that, you know, will tire you out, or actually will not work well for you. Yeah.
You have to be really careful.
Interesting. Yeah, I see you have some training equipment behind you, so I know that there is some stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you feel like staying, you know, active also helps you? Because I kind of seen that. I think we all have seen it, that, you know, when it comes to card games and online games, like the typical, let's say, gamer is not a person that is very active, like physically, apart from playing the game, you know, training in the gaming environment and playing the one thing. You feel like it is important to actually go out and do that stuff outside of it. I'm not only talking about tournaments, when you do like a quick workout, but outside of it.
I don't think I'm that physically active because I have a shoulder injury. So I can work out once a week.
Okay.
But we have seen very different physical types in Gwent. And they are also really successful, such as Fireball, Red Rain.
Yeah.
Like, they are really different physical types.
Totally.
And they are all successful. Really successful. So I don't think if it mattered, it wouldn't that have happened.
I mean, it's
also in chess as well. You can see some like obese grandmasters.
Yeah. It's a brain sport, right? So the muscle that you're training is the one, you know, between your ears, pretty much.
But I think it helps your mental. If your body is strong, your mental is also strong.
Yeah. Yeah, it also, I think, just works in terms of confidence. If you're confident, but I feel like confidence can be shown in different ways. You can show confidence through the way that you look, your physical, let's say, kind of boosts your confidence, or you're confident because you know, like, that mentally you are strong and mentally you're prepared and that mentally you are kind of, you know, you're dominant, right? So that also works.
But nevertheless, being strong never hurts.
In real life, being strong, it is something that can, you know, help you out, but it's not something that I feel like is very needed. Like, we've kind of moved on from...
It's not needed,
Yeah.
you're right. But it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, we
And
kind
it
of...
also boosts your confidence a lot.
Yeah, it boosts your confidence. And we also kind of, like I say, I want to say we moved away from the times where you need to be hunting for things and running and to get stuff. Like, we're kind of lazy as humans because we have access to everything on a daily basis.
But if you live in
easily.
Turkey,
Not well. That's also true. Well, I've been to Turkey once for vacation. Everything was there.
just kidding.
Yeah. So we mentioned about your start in Gwent and stuff like that. Also, your plans for this year. What about your plans after this year? Like, what do you plan to do after 2023? We know kind of what's going to be happening with the game moving forward, but what are your plans?
I will beg you to make another season.
Okay. You should start a petition with other players.
I'm having too much fun this game. Like, most people like to shit talk it, but I actually love it.
Nice. That's really cool to hear, and that's very sincere.
So I want another season of this because I started really late. Like, I was a noob at Masters 3, and I was a rookie at Masters 4. Although many people thought me as a veteran, but it was my second year of the game. And this is my veteran year.
Okay. So it's
and
very
I want
quick.
to keep playing as a veteran.
So it's very quick though. Like, it's a very quick progression in terms of like being in the game.
And I want to play more because I did not play in the beta. I did not play in Masters 1 or 2. So I want more. And please give me more.
It's probably also good that you didn't play in the beta because the game has changed a lot also through that time. Like, I feel like the game has gone through like significant changes, like in between, let's say the whole like competitive seasons. I also feel like there was a lot of changes, but I think the biggest change happened after Homecoming, right? So that was kind of where we kind of laid the groundwork and introduced a lot of changes in the game itself.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So that was already something that you did not experience yourself, but it was a significant change for the game itself. Did you ever have like a meta that you kind of go back to, or a deck that you go back to that was your favorite one?
My favorite deck.
Is there one or like a favorite meta that you played in that you enjoyed the most, or is there not only one that you could name?
I think my favorite meta was the line pockets meta with the Nib Cleaver. Line pockets, ice, and assimilate triangle. I was in love that meta because all these decks could beat each other.
Yeah.
You just had to play good.
Yeah. That's a good choice. And what are your thoughts? Well, current meta probably not, but what are your thoughts of the meta in the last season that you played?
Last season I played, I think it has variety, so that's good. But unfortunately, I have to focus on some personal and mental things, so I'm not enjoying it right now. So I'm taking a break.
Yeah, that I know.
But the way I saw it was actually not bad. The top ranking decks was kind of high rolly, which was annoying. Because when the cards are so powerful, you gotta start cutting tutors.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of also noticed that there were like some decks and some archetypes were top heavy, like they were like very, very good, and they were packing a lot of power. But it is always kind of the problem. Either you have, games in which the power level stays at a pretty like okay-ish spot, and sometimes there are these metas where the power level is like super, super high, and you see like just from the number count of you and your opponent that something's like the meta is crazy in terms of like the power level of the cards. But I think it also came with the fact that we started introducing, new cards, which maybe were a little bit more powerful, because that's kind of the idea in a card game, that whenever you're releasing a new set or a new expansion, you're bringing cards which are stronger. And then also you're trying to tweak other cards in order to fit in that. And, getting them to be strong is kind of the way to go, because you want players to play them, right? And experience that.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love a big entrance. For instance, when Ice used to get in the scene, I swapped 30 points. I was loving that.
Yeah.
Same as Cleaver opening with himself and not being killable. It's actually really fun to watch as well.
Yeah, it is, but it's also, not everybody is a fan of that. Like, not everybody is a fan of like swingy things or things that create too much power. I remember when we were changing Gord, I even myself wasn't happy of the change of him actually having a ceiling in terms of power. But I feel like a lot of, people really wanted that. So
but those are finishers.
Yeah.
And finishers have their limits.
Should they though?
Yeah, because otherwise it's
uncounterable.
No units gameplay.
Especially when you have last say, right? And you have your finisher that is a lot of points, and you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah, when your whole deck loses to one card, it is really annoying. But if you're your own card to counter it, then it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, someone in chat wrote, please revert Gordon Nerf.
No,
I don't think that will happen. Like, to be honest,
you can boost code by the 2 base power.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. Or 1 base power, but do not revert the nerf.
Yeah, because then there will be no ceiling on a card, and I feel like no ceiling can be problematic. Like, I had to understand that myself, and it took me some time for it to to kind of digest it and understand it. But I feel like, yeah, like also when you said right now, like if you have a finisher that can have X amount of power where X is not controlled in any way, then you're screwed. Nice. So you're gonna keep us begging us so we do another season. That we know. So season 6. Anything else in terms of like that competitive nature? If the begging thing doesn't work, like, do you feel like you want to take that competitive nature that you have that started with chess as a child and kind of move it on to something different? Are you thinking about playing something different? Are you thinking about maybe checking out other card games right now? Like, what's your feel towards all this stuff?
I actually started playing some Hearthstone lately. And I was taking a break from Gwent. And I am like top 1,000 Europe right now. Okay. So I think I will keep playing Hearthstone. Okay. That's an interesting one. I've seen a lot of people that are currently going back to Hearthstone and actually trying to compete in that. And I feel like it maybe is not the golden age for card games in a sense. I know we have Marvel Snap. I know we have Lorcana around the corner, and there's other card games that you can play, like physical ones like Flesh and Blood, like One Piece, Dragon Ball, Magic, like all this stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. Was Yu-Gi-Oh something that you ever considered? Because you kind of said, but I love the anime.
Okay. So maybe that's also a thing. But did you think about any physical card game? And or did you always wanted to play something that's digital?
I don't think I have the budget for a physical card game because they are too expensive in Turkey. So I think I will keep it digital. Okay.
I did not know that there is such a difference in terms of like pricing for this stuff, but I know that, building competitive decks, especially for paper card games like Magic, for example, I know that the costs are crazy, and it is something that is very difficult to achieve.
Yeah, we call Magic like the rich man game.
Really? Okay. Well, here I think it's more accessible. Although with prices on everything going up, cards are also becoming more and more expensive. So I feel like it's not, one of those necessities that you need yourself, but it is something that you do additionally if you have like some additional money to burn on that. Do you have a big card gaming community in Turkey, and like what's the culture overall when it comes to card games or gaming overall? Is it something that is big or not really?
Card games are not popular at Turkey at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost no one plays them.
Mm-hmm.
It is even less in real life gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some communities, but they are really closed, and it's really hard to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all rich.
Okay. What about digital space?
And digital space is also not that popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you could see, I was the first Turkish person in Gwent
Yes.
who made an open.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we made it to a qualifier, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. Throughout the years, I think based on statistics, that would actually be it.
And there aren't many people playing Hearthstone or Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was, because card games are amazing, and I wish my people were playing them more.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they are not.
It is not something that is popular.
They are playing Counter-Strike and League of Legends instead.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, if it's like the standard game, so like Counter-Strike, and I would also probably say Fortnite is kind of the thing, but that's more amongst kids, right?
They're probably amongst kids.
Yeah. Especially that's what I've seen in Poland. Like the card games, not so much. Maybe there's still kids that try Pokemon as a card game, because it's also accessible to kids and easier to get into. But when it comes to like online gaming, it's either League, like you mentioned, Fortnite if you're younger, and then Counter-Strike. I feel like it had its heyday back in the day, but it kind of slowed down right now.
Especially with Valorant coming over.
Yeah. Valorant also kind of filled in that space. Interesting. When it comes to like cultural differences and stuff like that, you pretty much joined a team that is fully like European guys, and you said that it was also a matter of getting into in terms of personalities, but also the way that you interact with one another. Do you feel like it was difficult to kind of breach this European space? I also know that you and Payable, you guys like met in person multiple times, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I'm making this up because I feel like everybody in this community met one another in person. Was it difficult, like in terms of like cultural differences and stuff like that?
I mean, Payable and Kerk come to Turkey, so
yeah,
maybe it was hard for them, but not for me.
Yeah, so they actually, okay, so I got it wrong. So they came to you in this case, yeah.
Yes, because I was the poorest, because I live in Turkey.
So how did they enjoy their stay? And it's also something that it's worth highlighting, the friendships that you kind of like forge through Gwent and through like this community is something that I always enjoy a lot, and it's also something that I always highlight a lot, that you know, sooner or later you have the possibility of meeting these people in person, and you've been interacting with them only online, and then you feel like you've already known them for such a long time.
Yeah, it is actually insane that you feel such a close bond to a person you have never met.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's something that I will like never totally like, you know, take for granted. It is something that for me it was very important. Like I remember we, apart from like inviting people to our studio and meeting them there in person, when we still used to do events in person, that was really cool. Like getting to interact with all the casters, like meeting the players. Everybody was always super nice, super humble and stuff like that. The thing that I also noticed is that after the pandemic, like last year we went to TwitchCon to Amsterdam, and we got to meet everybody in person. That was like so cool. But like I've met people there like Lionheart, where I was like, oh, I feel like I've known you for years, but we never actually met in person. It was the first time. So it's really, really crazy.
Same thing was with me with Payable. Because we used to spend most evenings together playing Gwent.
Yeah.
So we were like already really close friends, but we actually have never met.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's
it's
actually
crazy.
freakish at all.
Yeah, he is super tall and super skinny.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the guy can eat a lot and he still is skinny.
Not as much as me, but he is a lot.
Yeah, I don't know like what's your capacity, but wherever we went, like I remember he was eating a lot, and the guy is
Oh, he
still
was
like
eating
skinny.
a lot in Turkey because Turkish food is amazing.
I know, it's very good. It's very good. Yeah.
He was dunking those kebabs, man.
Yeah, but the thing is also you need to be a meat eater in Turkey. Like if you don't eat meat, then there's a lot of dishes that are just meat based, and the meat is very good, like very well seasoned.
Another cultural difference, right? For instance, I did not think about the vegan community because it's not common here. But you're actually right.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to be a meat eater in order to survive, pretty much. But it's good. Like I said, everything that I experienced when I was in Turkey in terms of food was great. Well seasoned, like very hearty food, but also a lot of fruits, a lot of fresh vegetables. So this is also like important, especially in countries where temperature is really, because you have a very, very hot summer there, right?
Which city did you go?
Oh man, if I remembered, I don't remember because it was a couple of years ago.
Was it by the agency?
Probably yes.
Then it's really hot.
Yeah.
Especially for a Polish person.
Yes, especially for us that are pretty much used to, being pretty much in a, it's still March and it's cold as hell. Cold as hell. Yeah, it's not getting better. Yeah.
That's one reason why I liked the tournament start being in person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would literally freeze there. Because I'm coming one of the hottest places in Turkey.
Yeah. So where are you based?
In the Mediterranean coast.
Okay.
I currently live in Istanbul, but I was raised there.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is actually like hotter than Italy.
Okay. Damn. And also Turkey is currently going through some earthquakes and stuff like that. Like that happened, but it was Turkey.
Oh, by the way, thank you a lot for the charity stream.
Yeah, of course.
I cannot thank you enough.
Like we have people who work with us who are from, like we have Dilara, who's one of our graphic designers that comes from Turkey. So she kind of also, highlighted how big of a crisis it actually is. So were you affected by this in any way or not?
I mean, my relatives were affected, but luckily I wasn't.
Okay. Yeah, so sorry to hear about that. I mean, I know it's super difficult.
Mm-hmm. But again, thanks a lot for the help. It means so much.
I mean, anything we can do that can help others out, like we're always more than happy to do so, because yeah, it's important. Especially I feel like as a company we come from, let's say, a privileged place, so it's really cool to use that for a good cause. And the same thing happened when the war in Ukraine started, or any other charity or like focus thing that we can do. We'll totally always support that.
You guys are really the nice guys.
I mean, we try to be, when it comes to our philosophy, I feel like, and the way that we do business is like gamer first, and also trying to be humble and good to others, because I feel like that is the way that we want to be treated as a company. So that's the way to go.
Damn. If I wasn't a sailor, I would work with you guys.
You never know. Maybe like, were you ever thinking about working game dev in any way, or not? Or this is not your kind of field of expertise or your studies or anything like that?
I mean, I'm a marine engineer, so it's pretty far away from me.
Oh, okay. Marine engineer. That's super interesting, though. Or not?
I mean, it is kind of interesting because you live far away from home. And you gain lots of money.
Yeah.
But also you have to spend 6 months in a ship.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. But are you actually working in that field right now? Are there like times where you just go out for a couple months and you're gone, or not?
I'm still a student.
Okay. So this is kind of the future, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might look old, but I'm 22.
Damn, you're super young then. I thought you were a little bit older.
Yeah. It's called being Turkish. All those years in Turkey made me older.
I think you answered that question right now. So once you finish your studies, you won't have time for games. Like, you'll be traveling all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I do love playing some games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can still play offline games.
True.
Like Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot online game anymore.
Yeah. You played The Witcher. Did you play Cyberpunk or not?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm playing it right now.
Oh, good.
Third time.
Nice. Third time?
Yes.
Man, crazy. So you're actually like a CDPR fan in terms of like the games.
Of course, your games are amazing.
That's incredible. That's really cool to hear, because that's also how I joined the company. I joined the company as a fan of the company and the games. Like at the time, it was Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 just came out. So I played all of them and I was like, man, it would be really cool to work for CDPR one day. And then it actually happened, and I'm super happy to be part of the company it's going to be 8 years this year, which is quite a lot of time.
Oh.
Yeah. 8 years.
But you're doing amazing in CDPR.
Thank you. Like, I'm doing well, or CDPR is doing well?
I mean, you're always doing amazing in interviews.
I try.
I'm like kind of the stoic guy, and you're carrying it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I love doing interviews. I love esports. I'm not maybe that competitive myself, but I really like really like, talking to players and also like learning all the behind the scenes stuff and kind of picking their brain and seeing like what they're thinking about after a match. But also, like, I've always liked just organizing the tournaments, because I do a lot of like the on-camera stuff, like off-camera stuff, that is just organizing, putting the team together, like seeing if we have a proper run of the show for each event and stuff like that. So I also focus on those things, because I've always enjoyed that part of bringing an event to life. And it was much more difficult when we did it in person, and we also did it on offsite locations and stuff like that. But it's also the interesting part is kind of, getting the team, but also, getting the proper equipment, getting the proper software, hardware, and also, making that go from that standpoint on. So that's really cool.
So you are also doing that?
Yeah. It's kind of more of like a behind the scenes stuff. So not everybody sees that, but if you look at the credits,
that's amazing.
When you look at the credits, like the production, like keeping production going for especially the online ones, I've been trying to keep that, as the let's say go-to person. I took it from Vlad to a sense where he became more engaged in the game director position, which kind of takes up more time. So yeah. Yeah. All right, man. We've been into an hour. Are there any closing statements or anything you want to add at the end? I was expecting actually you're gonna throw some curveballs my way, some hard questions that I won't be able to answer or anything like that. But it looks like I was mistaken.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
I mean, I would keep talking for an hour, but I think let's call it here because I have to use the bathroom.
Perfect ending statement. All right, Kerpeten, thank you, my friend. Also, thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched it, and thank you to everybody that is watching this on YouTube. And we most likely will be back next week with a new twig. So take care, everyone, and bye-bye.
Thanks a lot for having me.
My pleasure.
And hoping to be there next time.
Cool. Perfect. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.